Hello! Hello and welcome to Extreme Gameplays, where I play games tirelessly. Today I'm back with another awesome project that I've been working for the past 2 weeks on, and it is a very interesting project. It's not a video, it's not a live stream event or anything. No, it's just something for a game that I really love, God of War 2. In the past couple of weeks, I've been diving deep into ranking systems and scoring systems in general in the video games that I like, or in other new video games that I get interested in. Generally, I've been doing a lot of revisits to Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Rising, just any game that has a scoring system that I can get an S rank in. I've been doing a revisit to those ever since I made that God of War 3 S Rank Run. And now I think you've connected the dots after seeing the title and after this intro. Yes, the big project that I've been working on for like the past 2 weeks is finally here. God of War 2 S Rank mode is finally here. God of War 2 S Rank mode is something that you guys are really gonna like, and I have taken next steps into making it popular. Same with the God of War 3 S Rank. I have made a Discord server that you can refer to in the description as a link for, as an invitation and all that. You can join this Discord server and ask me anything about the run, ask me for feedback. Hell, we can even talk casually in that server. Yeah, it generally contains details about God of War 2 S Rank Run and God of War 3 S Rank Run, which today I'm here to talk about the God of War 2 one, since it is a very insanely great one. The God of War 3 S Rank Run was more so influenced by Devil May Cry 3's S Rank Run. You generally want to go for that perfection, go as fast as possible, while also being careful to not take damage and doing the most efficient stuff beautifully, right? There was a side little requirement for each and every mission, that being getting 100 hits in every mission. God of War 3's S Rank Run was generally a simplistic take at the scoring system and rank runs and all that. God of War 2 is the exact opposite of that. With God of War 2, I decided to take a more methodical approach to the scoring system in general. It's a much more akin to Metal Gear Rising scoring system, which is my favorite scoring system of all time. Or we have Devil May Cry 1's scoring system. That being, it has to be revolving around points to get the S rank. You gotta get certain amounts of points in a mission to get the S rank. Now, each mission has a different point requirement. Some mission might have 5,000 points as a requirement. Another mission will have 4,500 points as a requirement. Which now gets me to my next point before diving into each and every single mission. I've divided the game into 12 missions, but before we get into that, let's talk about the rules and how you're expected to go about them. To start it off, we have a couple of stuff at the top of the rule structure to just get out of the way as the most simple things to talk about right now. These four are going to be very simple. The first one is how you want to do the run, how the run is going to get acknowledged by me, who's making the run. The first rule is it has to be on bonus play, no upgrades. That means you have to finish the game once in no upgrades. That way you unlock a new game plus, when you save after you're done with your no upgrades run. The new game plus save gets, overwritten with your most recent save that happened to be a no upgrades. That's how, that way you can just load into the game, press yes on the bonus play, select the normal Kratos, and that way you're just loaded into the game. With a new game plus, you have all the tools, but they're not upgraded. This is how you're supposed to go about the run. The rule after that, we have no deaths / restarts. That means if you die, you better off restart the mission. Or if you restart, that's not allowed. You're gonna lose the S rank instantly. The rule after this is gonna be the no Barbarian Hammer rule. This rule is a thing I thought about after doing a lot of playtesting in the S rank mode and stuff. The Barbarian Hammer frankly breaks the first half of the game if you keep on using it, especially in this New Game Plus that we're doing here. We have a little something in New Game Plus of God of War 2, and that being that the rage mode that you have is a level 2 rage mode. It's the rage mode that you get, when fighting the Kraken in the vanilla experience of God of War 2, right? So that rage mode, that second rage mode that you get with the Kraken in the New Game Plus mode is unlocked from the very beginning, or at least when you're like free Prometheus and whatnot. But you get the point. You generally have it way earlier than you should. This rage mode is much more powerful. It maximizes everything that you have. Like, if you activate the rage mode as you're doing an attack with the blades are at level 5 damage when you're doing this. And it goes the same thing with the secondaries as well. If you do an attack with the Barbarian Hammer at level 1, if you activate the rage mode, it does level 3 Barbarian Hammer damage, which frankly breaks the entirety of the game, not just the first half. So as a way to go around this, bit of staleness, this bit of easiness with the entirety of the run, I've decided to ban the Barbarian Hammer overall in the game. which also serves another purpose that is going to be very, very interesting. That being, the player is going to have to now get familiar with the Blade of Olympus. Finally, we have a mode where you actually get to play with the Blade of Olympus. You have rules with the Blade of Olympus and whatnot. I'm going to get to it with the next rule. But generally, the replacement for the Barbarian Hammer is the Blade of Olympus that you can use in New Game Plus. The fourth rule gets into the secondary weapons territory. Basically, you can only use the Spear of Destiny as your secondary all up until mission 7 where you unlock the Blade of Olympus as well. So the first 6 missions are gonna be your blades and the Spear of Destiny only. Starting from mission 7 all the way to the end, you basically unlock the Blade of Olympus. So there is that as a rule that can be very, very good to get you into the flow of Blade of Olympus as well. It's going to be very, very fun. Now, the above that I just mentioned were general rules to follow and how to do the run and whatnot, but those don't accumulate any points for you. This gets us now to the next set of rules that accumulate points for you, since each mission has a specific amount of points required to get the S rank in, and let's now get into those rules. So the first rule right here in the territory of points that you gain is no damage. If you no damage a mission, you gain 1000 points. If you take one hit, however, it's not the end of the world. You still get points, but not 1000. If you no damage a mission, you get 1000 points by the end. If you take one hit, you get 700 points. If you take 2 hits or more, you get 0 points in the no damage department. The second rule we have meeting the time requirement, of course. Each mission has a specific time requirement slapped onto it. You have to reach the mission's end before the time expires. If you do that, you get 1000 points. But if you are 1 minute above the time limit of a mission, it's still not the end of the world. You get 700 points. If you go any more than a minute, that's when you're gonna have to restart that mission, because you get 0 points if you go above 1 minute of the time requirement. Now, a little something about God of War 2, a sort of nitpick, if you will, is that the pause menu of God of War 2, which is very awesome, by the way, I'm gonna get to it with the next couple of rules. The pause menu does have a timer that you can sort of see how long you've been playing and whatnot, but there's a problem. As you can see, it is still moving even as I'm pausing the game, which is weird, okay? That's weird. I really don't understand this philosophy. The timer is not to be relied on like you did in God of War 3. In God of War 3, you could just sit, press start at the start of a mission. Let's say you start at minute 19. Then the mission requirement is 10 minutes. Okay, it ends when you reach minute 29. Very easy. You cannot do that in God of War 2 because the timer does not get paused when you pause the game. So I suggest a very simple alternative. There's literally billions of stopwatches out there. You can start a stopwatch on your phone or on your laptop, wherever, or you have a chronograph, watch. Just press that at the start of each mission, and that's how you can get the most convenient way to see if you meet the time requirements. The third rule for accumulating points is no chests. No opening of any chest is allowed. Magic chest, health chest, raid chest, nothing is allowed. If you go about an entire mission and you do not open any chests, you gain 1000 points. The fourth and final rule regarding accumulating points in the most methodical way is to kill every single enemy. Doing that gives you 1000 points. So now let's do a quick little rundown before proceeding with the additional ways you can gain points, which are going to be the segment after this. But for now, we have no damage, time, no chests, and kill all. Each one of the 4 I mentioned give 4000 points. So basically, every time you start a mission, you already have 4000 points in your pocket. If you take a single hit, then you have 3700 points because you lost the 300 points from the no damage bonus. If you make it at the end and you are like a minute above the time limit, then you have 3400 points. It's not gonna be worth it to continue on, honestly. If you take a hit, you gotta be really, really fast, and you gotta have accumulated more points than what you have just here. So the 4 rules, no damage, time, no chests, and kill all, already have you, owning 4000 points in your pocket at the start of each mission. But now this transitions us to the crutch of this run, the most beautiful things and the most beautiful system to get even more points on top of the 4 rules that I mentioned above. How do you get more points in God of War 2's S Rank mode for each mission is by getting 150 hit combos and getting petrification kills. These two are the ways to gain more points. Allow me to cover the first one, which is the 150 hit combo. You saw in God of War 3 how I had a requirement for every mission that you had to get 100 hits in a given mission to get the S rank. You can't just speed run the no upgrade run. No, you gotta choose a specific spot to be, strategically get 100 hits. Now, God of War 2, that would have been kind of brainless and kind of brain dead if you ask me, because you have Chronos Rage that gets gained at the very start of the game, and like even that led me to make it a new game plus mode, for the S rank run. It inspired a lot of stuff, but generally, I couldn't go with the same philosophy I did with God of War 3. It is impossible to do that. Instead, I have decided to replace the system, but not completely remove the combo counter and all that. No, it is still integrated, but in a more creative way that suits God of War 2's S rank mode. So now in God of War 2's S rank missions, you get 150 points for every 150 hit combo. This is going to be the only thing that you got to keep track of in your entire run. Say you do the prologue. You get a 150 hit combo here, then you get another 150 hit combo here. That means you got it 2 times. When you make it to the end of the mission, it means you have accumulated 300 extra points on top of the other 4 rules that I mentioned. For each and every 150 hit combo, you gain 150 points. So you do what you know with that knowledge and go ahead and explore the missions. You're gonna have to study the missions, know where to get 150 hits, and where to get the second way to gain extra points, which now gets me to it. Petrification kills, shatter kills as the game put it. For each shatter kill, you gain 20 points. Now, you are in New Game Plus, you have Euryal's head from the beginning. You're gonna have to make the best use of your petrification game in some missions. In some missions, you're gonna have to favor the hit counter bonus points. In some missions, you're gonna have to come up with your own strategy to mix up both. You're gonna get 150 hit points here. You're gonna get some petrifications here. Some friendly fire petrification also counts and all that. But Zesty, how do we count the shatter kills? We're not insane. Hell, in the prologue alone in this attempt, I got 52 shatter kills. Now, I didn't count all of this. No, the game did it for me. The shatter kill, very, very conveniently and beautifully, mind you, is counted by the game itself, You press start, press L1, then it has things on, as a list of what you have done so far in the game. You have done this many brutal kills, you've done this many dismember kills, which, before I proceed, dismember kills were something I considered, but I didn't realize it would overcomplicate the amount of math that you have to do by the end of a mission. That's why I did not consider it completely to the end. I did consider it at the start, I thought of maybe each dismember gives you 10 points, each this and that, but by the way, dismember kills happen when you kill enemies with the Blade of Olympus. Just wanted to clear that up, but I did think about adding it. My friend Kira also recommended that I add it and all that, but I really did not want to overcomplicate the math by the end of a mission, and it made it easier to set points for each mission based on just petrification and 150 hits. I couldn't add any more. Okay, so now we get to the petrification kills, and it's very, very simple to see. Each petrification gives you 20 points. Let's say you start this mission right here, and you have 52 petrification kills, right? You cannot reset this in the pause menu. What you do before starting each and every mission is press start and check how many petrification kills you have. You write it down on a paper or on your phone or literally anywhere. You can even memorize it if you've done it enough time. By the time you reach the end of a mission, you now have something like, say, 80 petrification kills, or whatever that is on the screen right now. You simply start deducting the original, the first, when you started the mission you had 52. Now you have this much. You deduct the 52, from the amount of petrification kills you have now, and that's how you get what you have done so far. So like in mission 2, for example, I've done this many petrifications now. Very, very simple math that you do at the very end. You just literally deduct the amount that you had at the start of the mission to the amount that you have at the end of the mission. Then you multiply the results of that by 20. That way you have accumulated this many points with the petrification and this many points with the hit counter system. From there on, it is very, very simple. You literally just add the original 4 main stuff that give you points with the additional 2 ways to get additional points. And that's how you can see if you've got the S rank or not. It's very, very simple. And just a little side note that I do need to include into this little segment right here. You are not allowed to do petrification kills or, count up 150 hits and all that in magic trials where you have infinite magic. That is not allowed. Do not do it. Make sure to clear these encounters as fast as possible with whatever that seems suitable. But do not go for the 150 hits here because it will not count. It is just a rule that I've set for myself. So now that we have a clear idea on how to get the points, we get to the missions themselves, actually. Let's start laying out the mission structure completely right now for everybody so that, you know where to start, you know where a mission starts, you know where anything starts. One small little thing before I dive into the mission structure and talk about each mission, where it starts and where it ends, I just want to talk about the philosophy of this run and how much it really just differs from God of War 3 as a whole. Do not enter this one just like you entered God of War 3. In God of War 3, as I said, it's a Devil May Cry 3 style S rank. You just gotta S rank, no damage stuff as fast as possible. There's a little strategy with the 100 hits, but that's it. Beyond that, you just gotta be very fast and efficient. God of War 2 takes a more different approach. The time limit is still for each mission very strict, don't get me wrong, but in general, it has a lot more flexibility. You gotta have to think really, really smartly. Where can I get 150 hits? Where can I get petrification kills? Where's the best way to get both at the same time? Hell, the sky's the limit. And with that flexibility comes a change in the chapter style and the mission style that I've went with. Initially I had in mind to make it just like God of War 3, the normal, no upgrades, and you have to just, S rank the missions. But that wasn't possible with the ambitiousness of this whole entire project. So as a response for the flexibility and main, complexity of this S rank run, we have the missions being a bit longer than the God of War 3 one. You will not find a mission in here that is like, say for one mission that I'm gonna get to later, you will not find, a lot of missions that are around the 15-minute mark or the 13 minutes, 12 minutes, just like God of War 3. No. God of War 2's S rank run will have long missions. It will have some of the short missions like, 18 minutes, 17, 22, 20. It will have those, but generally it is like, as a bulk, it has more mission length than God of War 3. As an additional point, it is also taken into account the refills that you get in the missions. So like each mission has, each mission is designed perfectly for, how I've designed it, so that, you have refills in them. There are some missions that don't have magic refills, but most, if not like 90% of all the missions, 10 out of the 12 missions that we have, will give you a refill in the middle of the mission. So you're gonna have to plan around. I'm gonna waste all my magic here before Theseus. Then when I get to Theseus and kill him, I have another full magic bar. So how do I use this correctly now? Now this goes for nearly every mission, as I said, except for like maybe 2 or 3 missions that we're gonna get to later. But just like before I got into the mission structure, I wanted to get it out of the way, how the mission structure flows and how it's different than God of War 3. So yeah, you're gonna have to strategize a lot. You're gonna have to think where you get the magic refills. With a lot of replays, with enough replays comes enough mastery. And yeah, let's now get into the mission structure properly. So to start it off with the first mission, or labor, just like God of War 3. The first labor we have Glory of Sparta. This one starts after you skip the first cutscene of the prologue, and it ends the moment this floor closes after the Hands of Death. The time requirement for this one is 18 minutes, and the points requirement is a lot. It's 5,100 points for the first ever mission. The second labor we have Rage of Sparta. This one starts the moment the Pegasus gets trapped, with Typhon's hand, and it ends the moment the Pegasus is freed. That's right, I know you've noticed it already. The Pegasus section, the first one, does not count in this one. It's just merely an intermission for you to get to Typhon's mountain. You can thank me later for not including this into the mission. It's the same thing with the second Pegasus section as well. It does not count. It doesn't exist. Anyways, the time requirement for Rage of Sparta, mission 2, is 15 minutes. The points requirement is 4,600. We have labor 3 called the Splendors of Athens. It starts at the first island of creation manual save, literally as you land after, finishing the second Pegasus section. And it ends when you kill the last Cyclops, in this encounter right here, right before reaching Barbarian King. So time requirement for Splendors of Athens, 27 minutes. Points requirement, 4,300. We then have labor number 4, Battle of the Damned. It starts at the manual save before the Barbarian King, and it ends at the save before Euryalus Temple after killing the Cerberus. You're gonna have to do the backtrack as well, because there is a rule that says kill each and every single enemy. So make sure to do the backtrack after killing the Cerberus, you know, with the Golden Fleece, then come back to the save, and then then's when you're gonna get the time and the mission done completely. The time for this mission is a whopping 30 minutes, and the points required is 5,000. You're gonna have to bring it your A game. This is one of the most difficult missions in the entirety of the S rank. It starts a bit easy, but it gets really difficult from here on. So the next labor, we have labor number 5, Snake Eater. Yes, it is inspired by Metal Gear Solid 3. This one starts at the save before Euryalus Temple, and it ends at the Hall of Atropos after you kill the Wraith's Asphodel. So after you kill them, you instantly get to this manual save right here. Press start, check your petrification and all that. It ends right as you reach this manual save. The time requirement for Snake Eater is 22 minutes. The points requirement is 4,800 points. After that, we have labor number 6, the Demigod that failed. This one starts at the Hall of Atropos manual save right after you kill the Wraith's Asphodel, and it ends at the save before Icarus. This mission is 22 minutes long. The points requirement is 4,500 points. After that, we get to labor number 7, Spartan Rising. This is the labor that unlocks the Blade of Olympus from you. From here on, you are allowed to use the Blade of Olympus. Do note that before this labor, if you are doing special attacks and you want to cycle cancel the Spear of Destiny, it is totally allowed. It's not gonna, you know, ban you from the S rank or anything. The mission starts at the Atlas manual save, and it ends when you pick up the crank after the Spikes Room and the Great Chasm. The time requirement for this one is 19 minutes. The points requirement is 4,200. The labor after this, we have labor number 8, Evening the Odds. It starts at the save before the Translator, and it ends at the save before the Skeleton's elevator. This is possibly the hardest mission in the entirety of the run. Evening the Odds sees you start at the Translator, do the Spikes encounter in here, then move on, do one of the hardest encounters with the Cerberus and the Fate's Juggernaut, then do the Cyclops, and after you're done with the Cyclops, you save right here, and then's when the mission is gonna end. You press start as you reach this manual save. And yeah, the time requirement is a bit flexible. It's 24 minutes. It's not the end of the world, and even the points requirement are a bit flexible. So if you take damage, it is not the end of the world. As long as you've accumulated enough hits, you know, 150 hits, or maybe petrification, whatever your strategy is, keep it to yourself. You know better than me. Yeah, the points requirement is 3,850. The time is 24 minutes. And as I said, both of those departments are a bit flexible since this mission is very, very difficult. So go get them, Tiger. After that, we have labor number 9, which is called Ghosts of Sparta. Since, you know, Kratos and the last Spartan start fighting, they're both ghosts in a philosophical way. Don't mind me, I'm unemployed. It starts at the save before Skeleton's elevator, and it ends the moment you stab the Kraken with the lever. So there's this mission. It's also a difficult mission. The time requirement for this one is 23 minutes. The points requirement is 4,400 points. The labor after this, we have labor number 10, Rewriting Destiny. This one starts at the Sisters of Fate boss fight. You know, at the moment you skip the cutscene and the battle starts, that's when the timer should begin. And it ends at the manual save after the boss fight is done. The time requirement for this one is 10 minutes, a bit of a short mission right here. The points requirement is 4,200 points for the S rank. After that, we have labor 11, March of the Dead Spartan. This one starts at the checkpoint before breaking the door to the Loom Chamber. Every time we restart, Kratos has started right here, so you just start your timer right here. And it ends the moment you stab Clotho with the big scythe thing that you pull from the underground. The timer ends the moment she gets stabbed. The time requirement for this absolute beast of a gauntlet is 16 minutes. The points requirement is 4,300 points for the S rank. This is also one of the harder missions because you're gonna have to do the Loom Chamber a lot faster than before, and you're gonna have to no damage it. You're gonna have to get a lot of, ways to, whether it be petrification or, 150 hits. You're gonna have to accumulate 4,300 points for this absolute beast of a mission. After this, we have our finale. This is the labor number 12, Zeus's Fury. This one starts the moment Zeus' fight begins. You gotta skip the cutscene. You have that lovely feature in the bonus play New Game Plus. The mission also ends the moment you stab Zeus with the Blade of Olympus. So the moment you stab him, just press start, see how many petrifications you've got, see how many 150 hits you've got. Just do the math from there, and it's very simple. The time requirement for Zeus's Fury is 8 minutes. The points requirement is 4,100 points. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we reached the end of today's video. A bit of a long one, I'm sorry for this, but I have to really explain it deeper. If you like the video, please make sure to subscribe. Please make sure to like the video. Please make sure to join the server that contains all the images you see on the screen right now. It contains details. You can ask me questions. You can ask me for general tips on how to do stuff. Your damaging tool before getting the Blade of Olympus, which is the rage and using the blades. I'm just gonna spoil it right now. That is your damaging tool. That is your best damaging tool, since the blades turn into level 5 blades as you're hitting the enemies. But that's besides the point. You're gonna develop your own strategies later on as well. I have also made an S rank for God of War 3, and maybe in a far future I will make one for God of War 1. At the moment I am extremely insanely burnt out, and I don't really want to get into this right here. But anyways, we reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this brand new mode, this big project that I've been working on for a while. I hope you like it. I hope you do it. I hope you attempt it. Please let me know of any form of feedback. If a mission has some problematic spots for you, I may reduce the time requirement or increase the time requirement, or increase the points requirement for some of the missions if they turn out way too easy. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoy yourself with God of War 2 from now on. It's a very fun mode. And yeah, this has been your Extreme Gamer Zesty. Peace. Chala.